We knew when Eddie George left Tennessee State for Bowling Green that there was going to be a lot of talent that left with him. Well, a week and a half later, the exodus has started. Oh, yeah, it's Locked On HBCU. Play my music.
You are Locked On HBCU, your daily podcast covering HBCU sports. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, family? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On HBCU podcast, your number one daily one-stop shop for everything HBCU athletics, Monday through Friday, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And I, of course, am Darrion Gray, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, Texas Southern alum and former TSU Herald Sports editor and current contributing writer at USA Today's Saints Wire. Thank you for going on this journey with me. Make a Locked On HBCU your first listen of the day every day. And remember to follow me on Twitter at South Exclusives. Starts with an S and ends with an S. If you're looking for me on Instagram, it's @_Mouth of the South. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege to get $20 off your first purchase. We'll wrap up today's episode with a two-part interview with my guy, Joshua Sims Sr., about the BCIC, the Black College Invitational Championship. It was supposed to be one segment. We ended up talking bada boom, bada bing. Now we got two segments to wrap up what I think is a premier and should be treated as the marquee basketball event in all of HBCUs. But let's kick this thing off with much worse news. Unfortunately, the mass exodus has started at Tennessee State. I don't think that this is something we saw as a potential outcome. This is something that we saw as the expected outcome, that Tennessee State would lose a lot of talent when it came to Eddie George, because I'll start off with the roster standpoint, and then we'll get into arguably the biggest loss, which is Brandon Fisher, the defensive coordinator. But I've always said this. There are two things that lead to a large amount of transfers: individual/team success, both. I'll just keep them in a success category, but separate the two slightly. And then also your head coach leaving. Unfortunately for Tennessee State, they had great team success this year. They had a lot of individual stars, and Eddie George left. And when you look at the names of these players who left, when you look at the players who left and when they left, it tells you so much about what would have been if Eddie George had stayed. These guys were not going to depart if George was present. And no, I'm not just talking about Eriq George, his son. That's obvious. But these guys who are transferring right before we get into the spring session, they had committed themselves to Tennessee State until the person that was leading the team decided to depart. Is that George's fault? Not at all. But I'll say this: I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of them follow George over to Bowling Green. You look at just this week. We're sitting here at Wednesday as I'm recording this. You'll hear it on Thursday. But just looking at this week, the amount of players you have: Cameron Blaylock, he entered the portal on Monday. Bowling Green offered him on Wednesday. Eriq George, Bowling Green on Wednesday. Connor Meadows, Bowling Green on Wednesday. They all entered the portal. Blaylock Monday, Meadows Tuesday, George Wednesday. Obviously, it was going to take no time for George to get that, and we expect that to be the case. But the point is, you got three players for Tennessee State who are in the portal and immediately getting offered by Eddie George. Then you have Jalen McClendon. He entered the portal on Wednesday. Trust me, he will get that and announce that offer from Bowling Green very soon. You're looking at Jordan Helton, another guy who entered the portal on Wednesday, and I think will get an offer from Bowling Green. And then I'll tell you one that really stings from a Tennessee State perspective, and that is Sanders Ellis. That is probably the one that stings more than anything else, because you understand. Let me rewind. I thought Sanders Ellis was gone already. So if you go on Sanders Ellis's Twitter, you'll see a message about him entering the transfer portal in December. I think it was like a retweet or something. And the next one is like a thank you, clear confusion or whatever. I guess that was him saying he's stepping out of the portal, or he really wasn't in the portal. I don't know. But it wasn't clear enough for me. So in my mind, he was in the portal and just hadn't found a landing spot yet. So to hear March 14th, I believe it was, and that was Friday. That was last Friday that he entered the portal, and hey, he got that invite or that offer immediately. Bowling Green said, yeah, we want you. We want you right now because we seen what you were able to do with Eddie George. We want to see if you are able to replicate that. But um that Sandra Ellis one really hurt because he's a freshman star, man, just like a freshman star to me. I'll say this though as well. The timing of all of these departures does make me feel like there was a chance they could have stayed even with George out. These guys entering the portal on the 16th, and I think George was out what, the 9th, 10th, something like that. And it took you a week to enter the portal. You considered staying at Tennessee State. I'm not trying to throw salt in the wound, but the way I feel, the way I personally feel, is that going the interim route could have saved one or two of these guys. If Eddie George leaves and it takes a week for them to enter the portal, maybe they were waiting for you to name a head coach. And maybe they were waiting for you to name a head coach like a Brandon Fisher. Maybe. I mean, I'm just saying, Fisher was a defensive coordinator. A lot of these guys that I named are defensive minded or defensive players. You have guys like Sanders, like McClendon, like not George, but Blaylock, right? So like you have these guys, Ellis, if I didn't mention him as well. So you have some defensive talent that maybe, I'm sorry, take Ellis off because he didn't stay. But you have guys like Blaylock, like McClendon. You have those guys who are big time players for you on the defensive side of the ball. And quite frankly, I think that Brandon Fisher was a great candidate to be your interim head coach. I pressed this button a couple of times last week when talking about the whole Eddie George saga. But to me, an interim head coach, because of the timing that George left, made a lot of sense. And picking Fisher as that option made even more sense. I knew Eddie George was going to want to bring coordinators with him. Wouldn't shock me if you try to bring the OC. But I knew he would try to go get Fisher. You have the excellent work that they pulled off on the defense. If I'm Eddie George and I'm going somewhere different, and I know I want to get some familiarity, and I know I just had great success at Tennessee State, what am I pulling? I'm pulling my best players, and I'm pulling my best coaches. And on the defensive side of the ball, you had a defensive line that was constantly wreaking havoc, making disruptive plays, tackles for lost sacks. You had a star freshman linebacker fresh out of high school. I'm talking about straight out of high school and immediately a contender for being a P4 type of guy once he's entered the portal. And then on the back end, you had a very handsy defense, and not handsy in a way of grabby, but handsy in a way of they make plays with the ball in the air. So yeah, if I have a productive secondary, a star freshman linebacker, fresh out of high school, no red shirt, and I have a disruptive offensive line, or excuse me, defensive line, you better believe I'm going to try to take talent from there. I'm going to try to take talent from the D-line, take talent from the secondary, and take that star freshman, fresh out of high school linebacker, and I'm going to try to take the defensive coordinator. And that's what Eddie George is trying to do. That's what Eddie George is trying to do. There should be no loyalty to Tennessee State, anything like that. I'm looking at Fisher, a guy who is the son of my former head coach. I probably seen the man, now the man, but when he was a kid, I done seen him grow up. I know all of this. I want Fisher on my coaching staff. And the only way that Tennessee State could have protected Fisher from being poached by Eddie George was to make him the interim head coach. But you know what? They haven't done that. They haven't named an interim head coach in a week and a half. So you know what that tells me? It tells me that they don't want to go the interim route. That's okay. Just because I keep pushing the button doesn't mean that they need to push the button as well. I think that it's the smartest thing for you to do. I think it gives you the best time. And I think Fisher would have been a really good choice to do it. We saw this at FAMU where, was it Joe Henry? I think it was Joseph Henry, where he was waiting to see if he was going to be the head coach, and he ended up departing. Does this mean that Fisher just isn't going to be the interim, so he just went ahead and followed George? I don't know. There's a lot of things you could play. I would argue that the timing, the fact that you haven't done it immediately, that would tell me you're looking for a head coach. And I believe I even saw candidates come out about or most likely candidates pop out as well. So I guess they don't really want to go that interim route, but I think losing a guy like Brandon Fisher is going to be very difficult for you. I really do. I'll reiterate it. Eddie George is going to try to take the best talent from Tennessee State, and he's going to try to take the best coaches. Grabbing Brandon Fisher made a lot of sense. He will be your defensive coordinator. And when you look at what he was able to do for Tennessee State in 2024, just from a pure development of talent standpoint, forget everything else for a second. You had a defensive backfield that was really good with the ball in the air, getting interceptions with a guy like Boogie Trotter, guy like Jalen McClendon. You had a star freshman, fresh out of high school linebacker, no red shirt, no development, straight up played high school ball 365 days ago. You had a star freshman linebacker in Sanders Ellis, who was an impact player for you, fresh out of the high school ranks. And on the defensive line, yes, you have your son, but you also had a multitude of other players who were disruptive on the trenches. To me, why wouldn't you want to go get the guy who cultivated all of that talent? Of course, you're going to go get Fisher. I would have made him the interim head coach personally, but since you didn't, that's free game. He's going to Bowling Green with Eddie George. Pushing forward, what about the people who are going to Charlotte for the Black College Invitational Championship? I think that this should be looked at as the marquee event. And I brought Joshua Sims Sr. on here for what was supposed to be an 8-minute conversation turned into 16. And I can't lie to you, I think it was great. Let me bring that to you as we continue with Locked On HBCU. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Have you ever checked your bank account and wondered, well, where'd all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track of where you're spending your money. And that is where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized I'm spending way too much money on food. I need to cut that down, and it helped my spending dramatically. So this is for you if you want to do the same. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Today's episode is also brought to you by Game Time. Listen, imagine watching your favorite team live, feeling the energy of the crowd, and witnessing unforgettable moments, such as Alabama State's Hail Mary in a college basketball tournament that took them into the bracket of 64. Those are types of moments that you cannot replicate simply sitting on your couch. And I know I love my couch just as much as you may love yours, but it's different when you're in the arena or if you're in the stadium, whatever it is. If you're at the arena watching WWE like I love to do. Y'all know I come from a WWE background. That's my thing. All right. Maybe you want to do that and get tickets. It shouldn't be stressful. That's where Game Time comes in, making it easier to get last-minute seats at unbeatable prices. So, Game Time picks curation makes it a better value for you on your tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, or theater. Go ahead and go to Locked On or use the code Locked On College on the Game Time app, and you get $20 off your first purchase. Just download the app and use the code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. I have Joshua Sims, better known as HBCU Nightly, here with me. And you have a new endeavor. It feels like every week I'm seeing new endeavors on social media. Congratulations to you on all of them. But this one right here is interesting. The Black College Invitational Championship. I feel as if we've been asking for this for a long time. Why now? Why was this the perfect time to launch this type of initiative?
Yeah, man. First off, D, man, thanks for having me back on the show, man. Yeah, I think you're right. Every so couple weeks, man, I come out with something new. Have to drop something fresh and new. But listen, man. My favorite theory in business is the theory or the law of supply and demand. And for years, to your point, we have been asking for this. There's been a demand for more HBCUs to be able to play in the postseason, no matter if it's Division I or Division II. There's been demand for multiple years. for years. And I don't mean that. I mean that with emphasis. I don't mean that lightly. For more HBCUs to be able to play in the postseason, year after year after year, we have teams that are really, really good that continue to be left out of postseason play. Even if they don't, if they just don't make the NCAA tournament. And so for us, we felt like it was an opportunity for us to be able to meet the demand with the supply, and enters in the Black College Invitational Championship, which is a HBCU exclusive national invitational tournament, just like the one that we have on the other side, for those teams who have been left out of the NCAA tournament, left out of the big dance per se. And this opportunity now presents HBCUs, man. Your season doesn't have to be over. You can continue to keep playing. If you had a good season, you can continue to keep playing. If you want to continue to keep playing, you can continue to keep playing. And if you want to be able to take the energy as well as the momentum that you may have built on a good season into your next season, this is what this really allows for programs to do, to be able to build that bridge of momentum between the season that they had, the postseason that they had, and it should flow into the next season.
And I was trying to do a little bit of getting the exact date that this was going to happen, and I seen that there's a shift to being exclusively Division II. I would like for you to elaborate on why that call was made.
Yeah. Ultimately, man, we reached out to a ton of Division I programs, and this year was unprecedented.
Yeah, it was.
I will say that a lot of folks, a lot of entities, a lot of organizations knew we were coming. We've been promoting this for almost a year, really right at a year, if I'm not mistaken. And so there's some entities that knew we were coming, and to combat our ability to be able to do this the way we really, really wanted to. Some of them, took the strategic competitive approach. Listen, I believe in competition. Competition is imminent in business. I'm a business person. Business is my sport. I understand when your competitors start to make moves, you got to make moves as well. So for us, it was a combination of a few things. First, our competitors began to see the writing on the wall, and they started to reach out to some of our eligible, who we would have saw as eligible Division I programs, specifically on the women's side, because I made this an open statement. I've said this multiple times, that I'm starting to pay more attention to the women's game than I am to the men's game. The women's basketball is becoming way more interesting to me than men's basketball in this transfer portal world. So we started seeing some of the programs, women's basketball, HBCU women's basketball was at an all-time high this year. A whole lot of really, really good teams, a good group of good teams, and the amount of bad teams was lower than in normal years. So unprecedentedly, on both the Division II and then on the Division I women's side, we got more invitations to these postseason tournaments. And we've seen in the past, probably years combined, we've never seen this amount of postseason invitations, both on the Division II and on the Division I women's side. And as it pertains to the Division I men's side, we had commitments. We had some programs that said that they would have been willing to come and play. The reality is we're not going to live in a world where we have inequality. We are not going to have a tournament where we have on the Division I side just have men playing and not have the women playing. The sisters had an opportunity to go play in other tournaments. We bid them good luck. We hope that they win those postseason tournaments, and then we will put ourselves in a position, put our name in the hat in a more strategic way for next year, so that they have the ability to come and join us. But we had commitments on the Division I men's side. The Division I men's, we didn't feel it was fair for us to do that. And then the last part of that was we needed to focus in year one on producing a high quality opportunity, a high quality event. Right. The worst thing that can happen is we roll this out and then we out here rolling out C+ work. That's just not going to be great. So we appreciate our partners at HBCU Go. We were able to make that announcement a few days ago. We appreciate all of our partners from the city of Charlotte and all of the municipalities in the area, all of our hotel partners, all of our business partners, the Black business owners and the Black founders in the area who wrapped their arms around the BCIC. And so our commitment to them was that we would put on a high quality postseason basketball invitational here in the Queen City. And we feel like by us being able to focus on the Division II level, where we have both men and women commitments to be able to play in this thing, we feel like we can be able to put together a high grade, A+ quality product that the world will love to see and love to see for years to come.
So it was originally going to be a Division II day, a Division I day. Now that it's gone to just D2 teams in totality, how is the schedule impacted for those who are looking to buy tickets?
Yeah, man. So first off, I want to make sure you guys go to Black College Invitational Championship.org. That's Black College Invitational Championship.org. We rolled out, once we made this adjustment, made this change, we made the announcement. We also rolled out what the new format is going to look like. On day one, you're going to get games across the board on day one for all of the programs, both on the women's side and the men's side on day one. On day two, we'll have consolation games. These are games where everybody will get a chance to play more than once. All right, so consolation games will happen on Friday, and then on Saturday will now be our championship game. And don't believe it, we still got Sunday events. We still got the step show on Sunday. We still got a lot of empowerment on Sunday. We still got opportunities in the area. If you go to church or you go to mosque or you go to temple, we got some partnerships with the religious community here in Charlotte on Sunday for you to be able to go in and get that word, and then be able to send you back on your way on your flights or in your car, or whichever mode of transportation that you got to the Queen City. Or if you live here, you get to go back home after that, after having had a great weekend of basketball, a great weekend of social events. You got some word. You saw the powerhouse cheerleaders from Winston-Salem State do their thing, the best when it comes to the stump and shake. And then you've also had Educational Day, where we're welcoming almost 2,900 high school students from the Charlotte or surrounding area. We're sold out for that Educational Day. Over almost 2,900 students who will be coming to the Bowplex to be able to learn about historically Black colleges and universities. And Darrion, that's what it's all about. It's about welcoming the next generation of students and young people to historically Black colleges and universities. And if we do that and do it the right way, we've done a great job this weekend.
Daylight savings snuck up on us again, and if you're feeling that lost hour of sleep, 5-Hour Energy has your back. That extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need a little boost to power through. I know that I'm feeling it today, and I wish I had a 5-Hour Energy on me. Whether you're trying to stay up late to watch the NCAA tournament, squeezing in a round of golf after work, or just trying to keep up with your busy day, 5-Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. I've been staying up trying to get ready for the tournament action, right? Just knowing that I'm going to be up all night. 5-Hour Energy helps me make it through the next day. So, if I were you, I would head over to 5hourenergy.com to find 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. You need one now? Grab a 5-Hour Energy at your local grocery or convenience store because they're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
And I know as you guys move forward, man, I know the initiatives that you push. I know that the type of work that you do in all of these other formats, I know that you're going to try to expand. I know that you're going to try to get Division I and Division II the next year. Is the goal to look at as competitive and this be the number one spot that every HBCU chooses to go to? If so, what is needed to make it that?
Yeah, we've got to strategically get that done. Here's one of the things I'm going to lead with. Next year, we will be the preeminent non-NCAA tournament postseason event. Mm-hmm. We will, in fact, have Division I. We've already got some commitments already a year in advance. We've got commitments both on the men and the women's side for Division I. For some programs we know that's going to be doggone good, but they may end up coming up a little bit short in the conference tournament. We got commitments on the Division II side a year in advance. From some programs that are like, man, now we got extra motivation. You know, we might have had a young team this year. That young team will mature next year, and we got extra motivation to continue to keep doing what we're doing. Coaches going to have to surmise to the fact that they're not going to be able to go on vacation a week earlier. They're going to have to wait to go on vacation a week later. And so we got coaches who have already committed to that, man. They've already told their wives or their husbands or their partners, hey, man, move the hotel, move the resort reservation another week off, because if we don't get into the NCAA tournament, we certainly can get into the Black College Invitational Championship. So, but to your question, man, about expansion, we will continue to keep doing this great work. Year one, we always knew year one was going to be a proof of concept year. We needed to
Yes.
prove that we could put on a high quality. Everybody in the HBCU world and across the diaspora knows I'm a business guy. I'm a business guy. I never played basketball. I didn't meet the height requirement to play basketball. I played college football at North Carolina Central University. I did not play basketball anywhere. I think after 6 years old, I didn't even pick the basketball up competitively. So the reality is I'm not a basketball guy. That's not my sport. What are my sports? It's business. Business is my sport. And if anybody knows my repertoire and knows my reputation, I'm all about high quality, top of the line, A+ work being put in front of people from a business standpoint. So when you think about the BCIC, that is what we want to be synonymous. We want from the moment that these student athletes are traveling to Charlotte, from these athletes, as well as the administrators and the coaching staff, the support staff, as they are traveling, we want their experience to be A+ from the moment they get on the bus or get on the plane or whichever mode of transportation they choose. We want the quality of their experience to be top of the line. We want it to feel like you're playing in the NCAA tournament, which you know you're not playing in the NCAA tournament. We want it to feel like that. When we get to the hotel, we want it to look like King Joffrey Joe Furden walking into the building. All roses being thrown on the floor. We really do want to roll out the red carpet for these young men and women and for these players and these coaches and the administrators of these institutions so that they know, hey, man, even if we don't make the BCIC, I want to go down there just to be able to get the experience, man. I want to buy me some tickets and go sit inside the arena and listen to the pep bands that we got playing in there. Yep, we got those. Listen to the PA announcers. We got B-Dot, world-renowned B-Dot. You know what I mean? We got No Limit Larry, who is an absolute legend, multiple DJs. And you can't come to Charlotte and have an event like this with HBCUs without having the parties and the social events. All in safe environments, great environments. We absolutely know that absolutely nothing's going to happen. We appreciate the city of Charlotte and all of their partnership and the police department and the sheriff's department of Mecklenburg County for ensuring that we're going to have a very fun, safe, but a first in our lifetime experience here in the city of Charlotte. So as we expand, you guys will continue to see us do and focus on the highest quality possible. And that's the reason why everybody's coming to the city this week.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna say this. And I it's gonna sound crazy, but I legitimately thought you were gonna say you can't have an event in Charlotte without PD Pablo. I look, blame it on me being from Texas, but I thought you might say you can't do it without PD Pablo.
Spin around your head, spin around like a helicopter.
I almost forgot what kind of show. But no, seriously, let me say this on a very sincere. I was sincere about that, but let me say this on a very sincere note. And this is, I know this is an interview. I'm getting your opinion, but I want to give mine as well. I think that this is good for us. I'm rooting for all HBCU teams to be able to play in postseason play, as many as possible. And what you said about the competitors seeing the writing on the wall and more invitations, that's great. And I love it, right? That's another positive thing. I will say this. I'm rooting for you, though, my brother. I'm rooting for this event. I'm rooting for HBCUs to say no to them, yes to y'all, because I think that there is power in having this event. There's a reason we've desired it for so long. I hope that year one is a proof of concept that everybody can get behind, because as I've said multiple times, and I'll say it again, everybody know I'm a repeating type of guy, so I'll repeat here. I think that it's positive. I think that this is something that we should be happy to form. This is something that we should choose. Is the big dance the big dance? Yeah, that's an institution that just honestly at this point can't be replaced. But outside of that, the BCIC, the Black College Invitational Championship, is not a consolation. This is a destination. And that is the way that I view it. That's the way that I think others should view it. I hope that the attendance is phenomenal. I hope that the product is phenomenal. And I hope that the 2026 version is everything that we hoped the 2025 version could have been, because everybody can't be first to the party, but the doors don't close just because you ain't first. And I'll leave it at that.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
I want to make sure I give a quick shout out, first of all, to you, my brother, for allowing me to be able to come on and talk about this venture, man. This is near and dear to my heart. I want to also make sure I give a super shout out to my business partner in this, Dr. Wes Bellamy, who his vision, he's also our CEO. His vision and his fortuitiveness is the reason why we here at Tip Off, man. We have a saying when we get off the phones, when he and I talk, we talk about get the tip off and let the world see. Get the tip off and let the world see that we can be able to do things like this. We didn't have to go beg anybody. We didn't have to go get on our knees and ask for something. We were able to do this right daytime in living color, to show the world that Black men and women can come together, that sisters and brothers can come together and make an opportunity like this happen for our own institutions. And also want to make sure I give a shout out to our chief marketing officer, Ariel Long, our chief operating officer, Russell, man, and everybody that's on our board and our team and our staff, everybody from across the entire BCIC team, all of our partners, man. I don't want to leave anybody else, so I'm not going to go down the list. But I truly, truly appreciate you guys. Thank you guys. We appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart, not I, but we. Which is another thing that our CEO has been really, really serious about making sure everybody talks about, man. And so I'm just proud. I am proud and I'm blessed to be a partner in this thing, man. And was proud to be able to link up with my brother Wes and really be able to put this thing together, man. And we're proud, and we hope that everybody that's going to be in the area, grab your tickets. Grab your tickets, Black College Invitational Championship.org. Grab your tickets, come have some fun with us. And if you see me out and about, as I always say, come show me some love. All right.
Nah, no doubt, man. Thank you. We went a little bit longer than we had anticipated. I probably should have anticipated that, but thank you sincerely. I hope everybody does take your advice and go pop out. I wish that I would have thought about it a little bit earlier.
Oh.
I didn't even think about it until this week, and I ended up planning out my week. But 2026, this is why you plan things ahead. And I didn't forget about my trip to Central. I'm just gonna let you know that I did not forget.
The fall will be here soon. I'll be back on this show. Football season is right around the corner. I can smell the grass, but I ain't going there yet. I ain't going
football
there
season, quiet as kept. Football season's still here. I'm just gonna tell them the football season never left. It never left for me. But you know, I let them have their fun on the court. I let them do what they do. But I just want you to know, you know how they got in the Raiders Stadium, they got the grass, it just rolls out.
Mm-hmm.
That's my mind with basketball. So once like we get to March, yeah, we're gonna let them have their fun, but we're gonna roll that court out. The grass, pull out the water, get the sunlight. We need to get this back going. It's spring ball season. All right. I'm tired of acting like basketball. Anyway, thank you, Joshua Sims Sr. I appreciate you for all of the advice that we have had before and after. And I appreciate you for the advertisement of this event. May everybody show up. Hey, tomorrow, this will probably end up being the end of the show. So we done went for 16 minutes. That's 2 segments. We was going to do one. Forget it. Go check out the Black College Invitational Championship. SIAC, CIAA, who will reign supreme? You'll have to tell, or you have to find out this weekend. In the meantime, between time, until the next time that we hear each other, family, take care, stay blessed. Peace.